1, 2, 3.
Alright, cool. Cool, so we're going to start today. Hemp, alright?
That's okay.
So, the first thing to start is my eye.
Yeah, I think we should know what the hell happened to your eye, to be honest with you. Everyone's going to be thinking, what's wrong? I just had...
Alright, so, you get the video up and we'll explain what went down.
It's good you got video footage of it.
Yeah, no. Alright, here we go. Classic intro. There's our fit. So, here we go. Whoop, whoop. Sick lunge.
Sick lunge, yeah.
And then, right.
So what?
Pa!
That's a serious smack, like, the noise of it. Oh.
And then wait for Big Daddy Farron to look after me. Michael straight in, Papa Farron. Come here, Jamie, I've got you. So like, that's what happened with my eye. Basically, anyone wondering for the rest of it, so we don't get any like people asking what happened to your eye, what happened to your eye.
It's really hard to watch. That is the smack off your face.
Yeah, it's rotten.
It's
But it's part of it, innit?
yeah.
Like, that was the worst one I think that we've probably seen though. So it's not like it happens all the time, right?
No. Yes, in fairness now, you don't see a lot of injuries really, unless people do things that they...
And if the lads had a mat at the side, like our place, no problems.
Wouldn't happen.
So, Ali, get yourself a mat at the side, yeah? So the only reason we started this today was, well, we've been looking to do it for a while, but we had the Bar Monkey Festival 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
So we thought it'd be a good way to start the podcast and chat about that and ask Judge J Hemp, what you thought of the day, mate.
I thought it was brilliant actually now, and it's just getting bigger and bigger every year. You can see like there's more people coming, there's a lot more interest in it. Like I remember the very first one, I wasn't actually around for the very first one, but it was just you and the lads that were training. Do you remember that one?
Oh,
The
yeah.
very first one.
First one we had was 2016? 2015,
Yeah.
right, so 2015 first one we had, and it was literally just 6 lads from one gym,
Yeah.
all going against each other, and it was like, the way we structured the competition was not like, it was like donkey, so
Yeah.
like you do one move and then I would have to do the same, and then we would try and build up a routine out of it,
Yeah.
because like, for anyone that's not obviously familiar with like calisthenics, the sport itself is only like 10 years, so everything still, it will probably be like in the next 5 years it'll be completely different again, so it's still very much like growing, and like the rules and like how competitions are structured I think will change a lot, but I think like, yeah, comparing it to that, which were, as I said, literally 6 people showed up.
Yeah.
One guy, Amrez, was there and his family came, and that was the only people there to support it. Whereas now, like, there's not just the Bar Monkey Festival, there's like plenty of other like competitions in Ireland, like there's other clubs. That's why we set up the institution this year, so there's like 8 clubs, all of them running their own events. So obviously it's grown a lot since then.
Can I ask as well, what made you really go for it? Because from 2015 to the festival 2016 it was completely different. It was huge, like compared to 2015. So 2015 you had the playground parkour over, you had the jiu-jitsu classes, and you had loads of other stuff going on. What made you see something to go for it?
Hemp. I just knew like that like calisthenics was like, everyone was saying like it had been voted like #1 fitness trend in the States, and I just felt like I wanted it to get bigger here.
Yeah.
But that also like, what calisthenics done for me was that like I just found something I really liked, but I knew like all these other sports could do that for someone. So my idea for the second one was I didn't want just calisthenics. I wanted like we had capoeira, jiu-jitsu, yoga, and like parkour and stuff, and I wanted people to see different sports, so that like if you don't like football or if you don't like rugby or whatever, like the usual kind of stuff in Ireland, that there is still other sports you can get involved in, like, and it doesn't mean you're not sporty just because you don't want to play football, like. And I think any of us like our age or whatever growing up, you had football and that was it. Like you didn't know of anything else. Like,
Exactly.
and there was nothing else really around. So my idea with it was that I wanted them to see other sports, especially like younger, like teenage kind of age, that like maybe they've dropped out of football and then they haven't got anything else, so they start to see other stuff. Like, like that's what happened to me. I was just a fitness instructor, and then just being lazy, just wanted to set up a class without any like equipment. I was like, couldn't be arsed, like. And then that's how I started coming across calisthenics, and the first time I seen the videos I was just like, what is this? Like, genuinely was just amazed. And then Vlastic was a fella who worked in the gym that I was in, but on his first day he literally just walked into the gym and hops up on the bar and starts doing like front lever, back lever, and the whole room was just like, Jesus, like what is that? Like, and our boss walks down and was like, who is he? Hire him. And she gave him a job, like, and he started like the next day, like, and I just started training with him, and he just started showing me like loads of stuff, and that was how I got into it. And once I got into it, it's just like, yeah, this is like so much cooler than anything I've done before. And I always kind of thought I liked football, but when I got into this, it was like a completely different level of like my interest and like how dedicated I could be to something, like. And that's why I like that, going back to the festival. That's why I introduced other stuff, because I wanted people there to find something that like had an impact on them in the same way that calisthenics did on me, like.
Alright, yeah, that's good.
And then I think we just wanted, obviously as you said, like that was 2016, so 2017, 18, now 19, we've just focused on calisthenics because we want to get our sport recognised now. Like, we want it to be a sport, not just like a fitness thing or something. Like, it's not just like kettlebells or whatever. We want it to be recognised as a sport. That's why we've set up the NGB this year. That's why we have more clubs involved, and that's why all our programs are predominantly kids programs, because we want to have an athlete development pathway. That like.
Yeah, so you set one up now, haven't you? There's levels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, and that's why we set up this year. Like, tried to set up anyway the coaching courses, so that we can create more clubs and at the very least more coaches, so that our own classes we can cater for more kids, and then we can also get other clubs to have more coaches. So like, if other guys in their club have more coaches, they can run more programs, and it means the sport itself will start to grow. Like, you know, like for you then, like you're on the outside a little bit, so like, you know, for you looking at it from the outside, what do you think has changed since when you first came across it?
Yeah, I remember literally the first time I came across it, I googled, because I had seen videos of calisthenics. I thought it was really cool, interesting, and I literally googled Calisthenics Ireland, and the first thing that came up was your old page. It was, remember the cult Calisthenics?
Oh yeah.
I was at Spare Monkey now, but then I just contacted you. It was just a couple of us training, and that's all I kind of really knew about it. Literally, I thought you were the only one doing it in the country. In the sense, you probably were then. But then that year, it kind of just took off. That's when you had the big festival that year. It's changed a lot. There's so many people doing it now. You just see, like, on Instagram, I nearly follow just calisthenics things, but then there's always new people from Ireland doing it. You know, follow you follow them back, and it's just growing. It's getting bigger. Plus, you have that new park up in, where's the park?
There's a park going into Blanchardstown,
Millennium Park,
Millennium Park, and we're in talks with maybe one going into Corky Park and stuff like that, and there potentially will be one in Ballyogan in the next couple of years. And then, like, I think, like, people ask us, has it gotten bigger and all since then, and like, I think it's hard for like someone like me or you as well to like give a actual answer on that, because like that's our bubble. So like, I don't see it. Like you said, Instagram, like if we're on Instagram, the only thing I see is calisthenics. But if you like martial arts, the only thing you see is martial arts. So, or if you like football, like the only thing you see is football. Like, so I think sometimes like everyone's in their own little bubble. So like, if I'm talking to someone, I just assume like, cause all they see is calisthenics, it's getting bigger. But it's hard to give an honest answer to that, because we're solely involved in it and we're so stuck in that. If you go on the outside, it's still very, like, if you walk into a shop and you just tell someone you do it, it's still at the stage, I think anyway, that like they'll be like, what is that?
Exactly.
And they won't have a clue what it is. But I definitely like would agree that it's gotten bigger like since that first one, because the amount of clubs that have evolved, and as you say, across Ireland, like not through us or anything, just literally them finding it and getting interested, and in the same way that we liked it, like the same way you came across it, you liked it. When you talk to other guys that are involved in calisthenics, it's nearly a carbon copy in terms of the story, that like I was doing this, didn't really like it, came across this, and now I'm mad into it, like. And I think everyone obviously tweaks the story a little bit differently, but the general story is that came across it, loved it, and that's why there's so many other clubs now, and that's why I think when people do get into it to that stage, and it's very easy to fall in love with it, like, do you know what I mean, and get hooked on it, like, because of that. And I think we're lucky that like the community of people that are involved in it now at the minute, like we've, you know, I think it's built up to be a broader community, whereas like you said, when you started with me, like the 6 that we had in that class, I don't think outside of that we would have known many others that were doing it, like. Whereas now, like, there's other competitions going on in Cork, in Dublin, in Belfast. So like, and then we were in 14 schools this year running it, and I know when I started, like, I would have to walk into every single school and try and just look, can I just come in and run this session and just start and just show the kids what it is. Whereas now we're at the stage where like we can't accommodate all those schools because we're getting asked all the time, and that's amazing. Like, but like at the start, like nobody would come near me for that kind of stuff, like, you know. But now, it's at 14 schools this year, and that wasn't just in our area. That was in, like, we were in Cork, and, you know, like outside of where our, I suppose, target market, if you want, would be, like outside of the like local schools to our club, like we're getting asked all across Dublin. So I'd say that from that point of view, like as I said, we're in our bubble, but I think from that point of view, it has gotten bigger.
Yeah, definitely. Because the teachers are taking notice of it. They can see it does benefit the kids, and then there's word of mouth. Then people are just saying, look, there's a guy here running these classes, kids are joining, and they just want involved as well. Exactly, like, and that's, I think, like any parent or whoever, like if anyone's gotten involved with us, and not just us, like anyone else who runs it, like when we go do events, and if like Luke is there or something with Irish Calisthenics Academy, and like all the kids just naturally want to jump up and hang out at the bars, like any of us that have run stuff for kids or even adults and stuff, it just seems to be a natural inclination that they'll want to jump up, swing out of it, and have, because it's a bit of crack, like. Whereas before, like when I trained just fitness or whatever, it was literally just, I just want to look good on Saturday. And whereas this stuff, like, you want to learn a trick, like, or you want to learn this new skill, and the way you approach your training is completely different. Like, you don't care really about the physique side of stuff, that just kind of comes with it. It just comes into place, You hear a lot of people talking about the mental benefits as well of it. How do you feel that kind of helps out? Yeah, look, it's class. Like, I would have been lost without it, just because of like whatever. But like, I think the difference with what we do is, like, when you're just training fitness, like, I know I have to go to the gym today, or our stuff's just very easy to go and do. You do it because you want to go and do it. Like, you make time for stuff you want to go and do. Whereas when you're just training to look well on Saturday, you're like, oh, I'll go 3 times this week, or I won't go today. Or us, I think, when you find something you like doing, and for us it's calisthenics, but like guys that are in MMA or whatever it is that they found, they'll tell you the same thing. Like, you do it because you enjoy it. It's not because you feel you have to at any stage. And that's why a lot of guys get hooked into it and stay in it, because that's the way you feel about it. You enjoy it, and obviously if you find something you like doing from the mental health side or whatever, it will have a big impact that you found something that gets you out of any kind of situations, or you have that positive distraction or whatever. Like, what was the biggest thing you took from it? But the reason I did start as well was because I was going to the gym, and I was, you're lifting weights. So I don't, not knocking lifting weights, just wasn't for me. literally just, you know, you're doing the same movement over again and again. And as you're saying, then it comes to a stage where you just stop going to the gym. But then, I just really enjoyed figuring out new moves. And then when you do get a new move, you feel ecstatic. Like I remember in particular the front lever. I was stuck on the one-legged front lever for I don't know how long. And then when I eventually got it then, I was just completely delighted. And it's that feeling that you kind of get that just makes you want to go and do something else.
I remember your 540, like your first one when we were in England.
Yeah.
And like, it's just a natural video in terms of, I think Michael caught it, the video, but it's just very natural in that like, you catch it and you see like 6 of us and even people that don't know you just in the background, like delighted for you and like, you know, big hugs and stuff like that. And like, I think it does, like, even though it's just you on the bar, like it creates a proper community with the guys that you train with. Like, you know, we would all be mates outside of the class and like everyone that gets involved in it, like they do try and build a community with the people that they train with. And like that was the biggest one when I saw you catch. I thought you were gonna say your 540, like, because when I saw you catch it, I was just like, just always remember that moment, like to be happy heading you, and then like us everyone grabbing you. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, that's what I like about it. That like, if someone gets something, everyone else is delighted for you as well. And like, you know, you find a group of people like that put you in that kind of mindset. Like it does make a huge difference. Like,
and I've noticed from the people that are doing calisthenics in the country, nearly everyone's like that. You know, they all want the sport to grow, and they're delighted from someone that's getting their first muscle up to someone that's getting a 360. Like they're just ecstatic. No matter what they get for them.
I think that's why we all do well together, like that, like, because I think everyone kind of would notice like how much like calisthenics has done for them.
Yeah.
So like if you see someone else getting involved and you remember you catching your first one of that or whatever, like what move it might be, like you know how big a deal it was for you, like, so you'll know how big a deal it is for them at that moment. Like,
that's great. Like, there's also the festival this year. What did you make of it?
I thought it was cool. Like I think we're at a stage where like obviously we're not GAA, we're not football, we're not going to attract that kind of crowd or them kind of numbers yet. Yeah. And my big objective is like I went to a GAA game a few weeks ago and like I'm looking around and I'm like, there's 10,000 people here, like, and I'm like, how do we get it from where we are now to that? That's where I'd love to see it get to, that you can start like filling out stuff properly, like stadiums, and generating that kind of interest in it. But like in terms of Flynn, Luke, watching them and as their coach, delighted to see how well they done. And then watching the two lads, Nick and Demi, come over and represent themselves really well. Like I've met them a few times, obviously being over in England, and seeing them progress is brilliant. And I was delighted that like they were all welcomed, like the two boys and like their mate that they brought with them and their dad, that like Bar Monkey or whatever, like everyone involved in Bar Monkey, you know, brought them together and made them feel part of it straight away. Whereas, you know, so like I thought that was great, and then seeing them battle and seeing like how different their styles were was class as well. Because like Demi and Nick, like really strong statics, like, and then just really strong, like not just for their age, but just like the actual just whatever, like if they were in adult competitions, they would be doing really well because their statics are good. And then Flynn and Luke, you know, what really impresses me about Flynn and Luke all the time is every kind of competition they do, regardless of what level, if it's an exhibition, any kind of event, they always catch their big stuff. Like the idea of competition doesn't faze them, whereas some guys it does because it depends on personalities and stuff. But like those two, like I've never seen them get fazed or miss anything big or like be afraid to go for anything. And that's why I really think that those two, like in the next few years, are going to be like the big two that come out of our club, like because of that, just because of their mentality that like comps doesn't scare them. Like that's what I liked about you when we do comps. Like you wouldn't prepare at all, like you plan nothing, like just on the day, like you were literally Jay on the day Hemp, like. but you try everything anyway. Like, I'm the other way around. I feel like I have to go in and I'm very like, this is the routine I'm going to do. I'm going to plan for this and this is what I'm doing. But that's me.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I feel works for me.
Well,
but
that's probably why you're in the world and I'm not. So.
But like, you go for stuff. Like, you'll go for it, and I like that kind of like all or nothing mentality.
Yeah.
And like, if you catch it, like, it's class. But if you don't,
you're not going through.
Yeah. But like, some people play it safe.
Yeah.
Like, some people will just play it safe. Oh, now I'll catch this, so I'll just go for this. And yes, that might work and get you so far, but that's the problem. It will only get you so far. There has to come a point where you got to go for your big stuff. Like, you want to get to the stage where you're at a competition where you have to go all or nothing.
Yeah.
You can't just like play your safe stuff. Yeah. And as I said, that's what I liked about seeing you in comps, because like, your first comp, you broke your ankle in 3 places, like, and it was all, and you still went out and finished out the other 2 rounds, like.
Well, like, I was only thinking about that yesterday. I remember the last round, I was down with the meds, the doctors, and I heard my name being called, and I just said, they're calling my name, like, I have to go. And they said, no. They said, here, sign this first. There was a waiver, like. But my first competition, I had to finish it. Yeah.
and that's what I mean. So like, Alex is another example of that. Like Alex can either catch the best routine you're ever gonna see, or he's coming off the bar after 2 rounds. Like,
he's nuts.
But I like that mentality that he has. Like Laura done well this year in like the World of Bar Heroes, and then obviously in Norwich, and like, that's her mentality a little bit as well. Like that, like, she will throw stuff on the day. And it's like, you don't plan, like.
Yeah.
But some people, like, if they plan, and this is just like, everyone's personalities are different, but if they plan, they feel like too nervous because they're trying to think of that routine, whereas you guys would rather go in blank slate and just go for it on the day, like. So I think it's really important that you get to know the people that you're training or working with if you're going to be coaching, because you need to know which mentality they have and like which one is going to suit them. So like, Luke, when he got the draw, was like, I don't know what to do. I've only been training 2 44-second rounds. So he panicked, and that's not a criticism of him. That's just, you know, as I said, every personality is different. So he would be someone, as an example, that is more like me, because he would have to be well prepared and well, not to use I'm prepared, but he feels like he has to know what he's going to do and plan it out methodically.
Yeah.
Whereas you can go in blind and feel like, I don't want to put that pressure on myself, like.
Yeah, I don't know if it's less pressure or more pressure. I'm walking up to the bar, literally, when on my way up to the bar, I'm thinking, alright, what am I going to do here? Always going to start off the same and go into your forward spin. And we, as you're saying, with Luke, panicked, but he smashed it though. He
was absolutely amazing.
He was training, like, and just bashed everything out, like, in his last round. Luke's unreal. Just when you're a judge, you can't take it all in. There's something about it, like, you're watching, but you're just trying to think of scoring them. But then when I watched the videos back, Luke actually smashed it. He did. He's unreal. He's going to be brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I think like, you'd forget he's 14 as well because of the size of him, and like, his personality really suits the sport and stuff, and like that, like, he felt that, you know, he got beaten by Demi because he didn't have like statics that Demi had. Yeah. And that was 2 weeks ago, and all he's done since then is planche. Like, every session he's just trying planche.
So that's brilliant as well.
So like, that's a good thing, that's how he feels. I need to work on that more. But it also just shows his attitude. Yeah. That like,
he's not just giving up, like.
Yeah, he's just like, as soon as he's given something to work on, he feels he needs to work on, he's straight in on it. Like, shrimp flip took over his life at one stage, where it was just like the whole, every session, just shrimp flip. But you look at him now, and like we want to put him forward for the Guinness Book of World Records for the shrimp flip, because like, he can bash out with 11 or 12 in a row. Like.
And that's all the training he took to get it. It's just muscle memory now. It's just
exactly.
Do it with a blindfold on.
Yeah.
Actually, you should get into that.
Instinct shrimp flip, like.
The bear monkey, man.
Oh my god. But we might actually just show like the highlights of their battles. If Kai can get up there. Good old RJ with the video.
Alex just really goes for everything, like.
Exactly, yeah. the rock, paper, scissors, like.
I love how that's a huge part of calisthenics now.
But like
that's unreal.
Yeah, it is.
The strength of those two lads.
It's unreal, like. Again, they're only 16, like.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, the ultimate battle. Like, Demi was so clean, like, the whole way through, like.
Yeah.
And I think, like, both.
See that.
And that's what I mean about Luke, like, not missing anything on he'll catch everything that he's prepared for, like, or everything that he's trained leading up to it. And I think it was good for Demi and Nick to also see Luke and Flynn, so that, like, if they matched, if you put Flynn and Luke, like, together, and Nick and Demi together as a, so you mix match them, you'd have a perfect athlete, because Demi and Nick's statics are unreal, and then Luke and Flynn's dynamics, like, each time is class, like. Cool.
To give credit to Luke again, I think his freestyle's unreal, actually, like, and I know the mat's there for safety, but sometimes you see some athletes kind of touching off the mat. Luke, he didn't touch it once even, he just carried all his weight.
And he's tall as well, so, like, it's not easy, but, like, he hits the mat sometimes, and then it's just the height of our bar, maybe, like, he's obviously only 14, imagine what height he's gonna end up. But I think Flynn was like out of the four of them, I think he's, the last couple of months he's after absolutely, like, just taking his training to another level, like. And then, like, if you think back, like, the one we had in the summer, we just had a little expo in the club, like, and, like, Ella won, and, like, just thinking back, like, that was just as the summer was starting in July, so from July to October, like, he's almost a different athlete, like, he's like this shrimp 540 every time, and all his swings, he's just so powerful, like, and you just don't expect him to miss anything, like. And, like, I'm just really excited to see how far he goes, like, because he's not someone that I see dropping out or getting disinterested, or, you know, like, you'd have concerns about, obviously, different people maybe at certain times. I've never felt that about him, and obviously Luke the same. Like, I just don't see them dropping out of the sport, like, whereas, as I said, you might have that concern about other people, but, like, the last few months, like, Flynn's just after, like he's doing Bar Wars Ireland next month, freestyle battle, and he has no qualms about going up against adults anymore. And, like, I think that's great, because in the summer, when we were going to put him into, like, Eric's one, he didn't want to do it because it was adults, and then now he has no problem with that. So, like, the festival is after bringing his confidence up to another level, because he's realising that what he's doing is at, like, a high level, and it's not just, like, high level for a kid anymore. It's like, no, you're going to do well in adults competitions, like all he needs, and, like, that's what he needs to work on next, I feel, is his statics. So, like, in terms of, like, you know, front lever, still only got single leg, planche, not existent, but they're things that he will work on. And, like, I'm really surprised at how, like, quick he picks things up that he works on. Like, you think, like, you know, like, as a coach, me and you as coaches, we think there's, like, a set of progressions we need to work on before they touch certain things, and Flynn just, like, nearly bypasses that stuff. Like, he caught shrimp and 540 before he was catching them on, like, well, not shrimp, sorry, but he was catching shrimp 540 before he was catching 360s.
Yeah, that's strange.
Do you know what I mean?
Different, like.
So, like, and you have to figure out, well, why, like, what, like, how, or, And that's what's really important, that you get to know the people you're working with, like, because Flynn just sometimes bypasses what you'd consider this, like, okay, so he has to work on this next. Oh no, wait, he's up here, he's catching this instead. Like, he struggled with 360, but trim 540 he was catching every time. And that's why it's like, he's really, like, I just have a lot of, like, faith in him or whatever. I think, like, the next couple of months or next 2 years, he's going to be the next big person to come out with Bar Monkey, like.
Yeah, because I know we didn't see it on the day, but he actually has caught a shrimp 540 and then ganger.
Yeah, like, and he went for it, like, he went for it on the day, but missed it. But, like, the fact that, like, at 16 he has the confidence to go for that without even, like, a qualm or, like, thinking about it or, like, worried about it, and just straight in. And that's what I was saying that I liked about you, and that's what I like about them kind of athletes, if you want. Like, when you see them willing to go for stuff and, like, you know, not being too conservative in their approach or being afraid that they'll miss it, that they just go for it, like. And Flynn's 100% in that bracket, but, like, he catches it more often than not.
Exactly, yeah, he does. He practices a lot though, doesn't he? How many nights do you over with you?
And Flynn's with us 6 days a week, so or 5, sorry. So you can't say it's not working.
Yeah.
And then we have it broken up that, like, obviously certain nights it's focused on something different. So he'll work on his statics one night, and you know, it's broken up that way. So it's not just all dynamics, even though dynamics is where he's, like, if you watch them, obviously we watched them just there, that's where he's stronger. But he does put time into the other stuff, like his neck hold was ridiculous. Like, he got that first night without even thinking it was a thing. He just went for it and got it, and we were like, what? You know, and like that was without trying or, like, and that's where I always get real interested in, like, where are certain people's levels, because something that might take us 6 months to learn, if they get a first night, does that mean they have a higher physical threshold than what we would have? Because, like, let's say planche is the highest attainable move we will get, but some guy gets that after 2 months. Yeah. He's going to obviously bypass. If planche is nothing to him, he's going to move into, like, Maltese. You know, he's going to start moving into the higher echelons, if you like, of planche movements. So, like, that's what I find real interesting. So if Flynn gets, like, he nearly got a Festo this week. And that's without really working on any of the progressions or, like, working hard on it. So what's the threshold for him in that particular movement? Like, how far can he progress that movement, like? And that's where it's exciting to work with people like that, you know.
Flynn, I think he has a long kind of career nowadays, I suppose you can make out of this in calisthenics. He's he's probably one of the top ones in the club at the moment. Yeah,
I'd like some of the lads, like the adults, are afraid to go against them now. Like Cairns will call you out, mate. He doesn't want to compete in Belfast next month because he heard Flynn's doing it, and, like, that sounds nuts. But, like, no, I don't agree with it, Cairns. Do the competition, do it. But, like, he's like, I don't want to get made a show of by Flynn. So I would consider, like if I went against Flynn, like, it would be close at this stage, because he's not a kid swinging on the bar anymore. He's a full blown, like, adult, like, and the power of him in everything he swings. Like, he's an adult in terms of his physicality. So, like, watching him is amazing, but, like, in terms of, like you said there about him making a career out of it, I think that's why we're trying to, like, as we've kind of said, like, set a path there, like, or, like, develop something so that there is a career for those kids in it. And I kind of would view that as the way UFC or MMA was in the 90s, that, like, and I've spoken to, like, lads that would have trained and been involved in it back then, and they were like, yeah, there was no money in it back then, but there is now. And I kind of think our stuff, I'd like to think that that's the way ours will develop, that in, like, the next 10 years, the kids coming through from our place now, there will be money in it, and there will be, like, a path that you can go down and make this a viable career option, like, and not just something, as I said, that, like, you know, for us at the minute, like, going to Hong Kong in next month, like, all self-funded. It's not like there's any prize money in going. You're going for your reputation, and you're going because you love the sport basically, but you're not going to make money, and that's not what we're about with calisthenics, obviously. But like, you also want to make it a viable, like anyone else in another sport, it becomes a career, do you know? And that's what I want for calisthenics. Like, I want to, and like, I've seen in the last couple of months preparing for the World Cup how much work goes into the other side of being an athlete, like the business side of it, looking after everything, like the sponsorship, the arranging of flights, like organising all the events so that you can do fundraisers, having the amount of people you have to contact, chase down, and start like promote the marketing side of stuff and all. Like, they're stuff that like an athlete shouldn't have to do, and like, I think the next guys coming through won't, because we'll look after that. But like it is a good thing that we've had to do it for ourselves, so that when Flynn, as an example, gets to this stage and he's developed further into his career of it, we're there, we've done it before, and we can look after him in that way. So that is how we hope the sport develops, like.
So you were saying about Hong Kong, so you're going to the World Cup.
Congratulations,
first of all. So how was your training going for that?
Good, man. Like, it's like me and Aaron, not in a bad way, but like, we were arguing about certain things because
what's new?
So like, me and Fitz are just like, you know, he's looking at it from, I need to get my project finished, and because he's doing his performance analysis on me, and that's grand, and I understand that. But like, I also was saying to him, like, I'm not going through this whole session and then I can't train for a week just to fit your thing, like. So I just said, so like, Fitz has like his performance analysis, right, and he's doing all that on me, and it's great, and it is helping. But then when it comes to like me, like, my focus is the World Cup, and his focus is probably his project.
Yeah.
But I feel like the World Cup has to take priority over his project, like. So, like, just, you know what I mean, him are like, but like, I think as well, just talking about having to organise the business side of things, like, that definitely affects how well you can train for something. Like, if you are just and that's just where our sport is. But if you can be involved, like I was saying to Jason, like, Jason Cowan's involved with the Irish rugby team, he's the S&C coach, and I was saying to him, obviously rugby is a completely different stratosphere to us, like completely different level of attention towards it and everything. But all the guys that were at the World Cup with him are just focused on playing.
That's all, yeah.
Like, they're not focused on having to get the sponsorship, they're not focused on having to go out and do X, Y, Z. And it's not, I know it probably sounds like I'm moaning, but it does have an impact on how well you can train for something, because you have to really prioritise your time, and you're like, what do I need to do today? What is more important? Can I prioritise training, or do I have to go and get back to this, or do I have to go organise this? Like, before, obviously with the festival, organising that, as great a day as it was, it took up 2 weeks because I had to go organise everything around it. And that's just where our sport is at. And like, you can't, like, we've had this conversation before where you can't justify being a full-time athlete in this yet.
No. Because
there's no money. So you don't get a return for the level of investment you put in terms of like your physical, like in terms of physical training. Yeah. You can't justify putting the time in, because what return do you get on it?
Because so nearly every athlete, they are doing personal training themselves as well. Like, you see it on Instagram, all the lads in the UK, you know, they're considered professional athletes in this, but they're still out there grinding themselves, coaching, and just working wherever they can. So you can see that, as you're saying, there's not a lot of money in it, and I think that's what you're saying. That's definitely the next step. It's just a matter of when and who's gonna come in and put the money into it. And again, being an athlete, like, you're getting paid to train, to compete. So I don't know where I'm going with this either. But it's just the next step is money, to be honest with you. It's like anything really. But who's going to pay the likes of us, you know, to do the training? You have to find someone that's willing to just put their money into it and really sign you. Like you're wanting to get signed.
Yeah.
It's like, who's signing people? There's people supposed signing and sponsoring people. What would they give you?
But like that's it. Like the level it's at. Like I feel like the level of sponsorship is like, oh, we'll give you a free jumper. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And like, and that's just where the sport is at. I don't think any of us do it thinking I'll do this because I'm gonna make money. We do it because we love it. And like, if you were doing it for money, you wouldn't be doing it.
No.
So like I think like I love what I do. Like I'm very lucky to be in a position that what I'm doing. If I won the lotto, I would not change what I'm doing. I would just put that money back into it. And it would obviously make things a bit easier and move things forward a bit quicker. But like I think the next step for us, like I've had this conversation about the sponsorship thing, and I'm like, I think we just need to grow the sport first and focus on growing it and not waste time trying to get sponsorship for something that's not well known until it becomes more mainstream. And when it becomes mainstream, through the likes of, even if it is just us going into schools and, you know, like our club is great and we have like, you know, over 200 kids involved, and that sounds brilliant, and as a business it's brilliant, but if you think of it as a sport, it's not a big deal. Like there's more football clubs in the country. One football club in the country would have more members than what we do. So you can't, like as I said, that sounds great, the 200, but like you can't justify someone sponsoring you when that's the market that you have, like that's the level of your club.
I think that's great about what you're doing as well, because like when we were younger there was nothing like this, but now there's kids. What's the youngest age you have in your class?
4.
Yeah, 4. Now there's kids at 4 starting it. So it's kind of interesting and looking forward to seeing what happens, as you were saying, in 10 years, 20 years, because you know some of them are going to fall in love with it the way you did, and they're just going to want to keep pushing it as well. So at least you have younger people coming up into it now, whereas
and that's why I like me going to the World Cup or whatever. Like I hope that the benefits of that come after, because it gives us more recognition, if you like, our credibility. If I'm trying to approach Sport Ireland, get the sport recognised, and if people say, well, who are you? Well, I've been in a World Cup. For our kids involved in the club to know that like this is the avenue you can go down, you can get to this level if you train, if you do XYZ, if you are heavily involved in the sport and this is where you want to go, there's a pathway you can take. And that's what I hope more so than anything after going. That's what I hope happens. That like, as I said, like I can go to Sport Ireland. Who are you? I've been in the World Cup. I can give this sport more credibility than it has at the minute, and hopefully help like all our other clubs, like with the NGB stuff. You know, we can actually help push the sport forward after it, get it recognised, get it more credibility. Like we work with the sports partnerships in our area. We work with the League Down Sports Partnership and we work with Southside Sports Partnership. They're the 2 closest to us, and like being able to say that you've been in a World Cup, like that just gives us good reputation to work with them and to get them to help us push the sport in those areas. Like
and just, you sound like you're organising a lot of stuff, and you're training for a World Cup at the same time, so I'm just guessing that must be a big obstacle for you, like.
Yeah, but like I said, like it's where the sport is. Like if I sat around and just moaned about it, I wouldn't get any of it done. Like it's just where it is, and it's just what we have to do. I can't say that like I haven't got help either. Like, you know, like all the people involved in our club have been brilliant. Like they've shown up at events. They've, you know, they've gone to the events we've organised. All the other people like around the country, like, you know, Bar Wars Ireland, Irish Calisthenics Academy, Michael Ferrin up in like Compound Calisthenics, Aidan down in Ninja Fit, like they've all shown up to events we've tried to organise, and they know it's just to support us going. So like, even though we've to do XYZ, we're still getting a lot of support from XYZ. Like
Exactly.
and I like we said earlier about the community in it, like all those people are willing to travel down just for one day. Like that means a lot to us. And like when I go over, that's the thing. Like you are like representing calisthenics in Ireland. It's not just yourself.
Yeah.
You're representing everything that we've all, I feel, put together. Like last night, we were up in Belfast last night, and the sole reason we were there is to try and update the judging system. Like Aaron's trying to put together a whole platform that we can use. It's updated technology, and to give us a better like understanding and like a more words gone in my head, but a more like objective view on it rather than an opinion, that we just have like a fact-based results system.
Okay.
As opposed to like at the minute where the sport is that like, oh well, you're a world champion, you come judge the event, you understand the sport.
Yeah.
We want it to be like any three people, if they go and take part in a judging course, can judge our competitions. They learn how to use the systems, learn how it works. You don't have to have that background.
Yeah.
And then it becomes less opinionated.
Exactly.
That's the plan. Like
you do see a lot, kind of, well, not a lot, but like, you know, if you look at a guy, you think, oh, he's gonna win, you know, that kind of way. And anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that either, but like the judging right now, it's a bit kind of up and down. If you get me, like, you know, it's like, you know, I don't know.
You would though, because you would, like, you'd go to, like in Norwich, for example, competed in Norwich this year, and now I was in bits with a chest infection and stuff, so it didn't go great, like it was awful. But looking back at the routine I done, some of it was awful, but I was still performing moves that are of a high level, like planche, festo, back lever festo, like statics were still really good, and I got knocked out. But if I went look at the World Cup, the qualifier in Holland, like there wasn't a huge difference, but I placed third in that.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's a huge disparity in terms of what competition you go to, because at the minute there isn't, like, it's not like football where there's just a set rules by FIFA and then everyone just follows.
Yeah.
We go to different comps, like we go to the Royal Bars comps, International Calisthenics Cup, and the set of rules are there. If they've 3 different judges, I think that's what we're trying to get away from. That, like, if you went to a competition and me, you and Kaye are judging, and then next week Fitz, Michael and Luke are judging, that the result would be the same.
Yeah. Okay.
That it's not based off human opinion, it's just this is what the results are no matter who's judging.
Yeah.
That it doesn't turn into just being a human error almost, or like human opinion. It's just fact. Yeah. You know,
if you set that up, that's going to be a serious setup. Like,
but it'd be like football. Like, you have referees for football.
Yeah.
They don't have to be ex-world Ballon d'Or winners.
Mm-hmm.
They just understand the rules of the game, and that's where we want to take this. That there's a judging course, there's a judging system in place. You go on the course. You're the 3 qualified judges that we have across Ireland. Every event that's organised has the same system.
Yeah.
Like, sounds great. It sounds simple, but it's where it should be, like, and that just takes time, like, honestly.
Yeah, I get you.
But I do like the idea of it, and it just brings the sport up a notch, like. So then, like, I suppose just the last question we like finish up on and all that kind of crack is, like, if we're looking at it, like, what do you think needs to happen to develop the sport in the country?
Me?
Yeah, Hemp.
Well, it's starting off right. Schools, I think, is huge because there's so much of an audience there, you know, that kind of way. And then, like, if just say a parent might not have time to bring their kid to class all the time, or to class after school, so schools are perfect. The more schools that you get into, the better. And once you're in a school, you're kind of in there for life. Well, so I've heard. Yeah. But literally more clubs, more coaches. What you're doing now with the Irish Calisthenics Institution, that's going to be huge. That's a big part to play with it. You know, there's going to be coaches doing a set plan all the time. And then, as you said, you brought in the levels as well, which I think is brilliant too. You know, level 1. What does the levels go up to?
So we've set up a development pathway.
Yeah.
So first one is fundamentals. Then there's obviously set movements within the fundamentals. Then we go into, like, learning to train, and then within that there's like levels 1 to 3, so they're the we've 3 different assessment charts. Then from learning to train, there's training to train. So that will be our version. That will be like everything they've learned. They start to learn how to put it together. Start to learn how to combine movements. After training to train, it's like training to compete. So our kids start performing in exhibitions. Start getting the idea of what it's like to have to put something together for a competition.
Yeah.
But no emphasis on like a winner, or no emphasis on winning. Just getting used to the idea of performing in front of people, basically. And then after that, so training to compete, there's training to win, and that's where I feel like is more an adult kind of stage of that, or maybe Flynn. Like I still wouldn't regard Flynn at that stage yet. I'd still regard him at like training to compete because he's going to move into adult competitions now. And I wouldn't want to put him under the pressure of thinking he has to win. Like, I just want him to get used to competing. But me, I'm probably the example of at training to win. And that's just because, like, if I go into one, that's the pressure we'd put on me. Not in a bad way. That's just, I'd go in, obviously not the World Cup, like, I'm not expecting to win that. But that's where at this stage I'd be at. That, like, if I'm going into something, I'm not there just for the experience anymore. I'm there with the emphasis that I want to do well. So my training would obviously be different to what Flynn's is at the minute, because my emphasis going into comps is I want to try and win. And then after that is the coaching. So we have like retention, and like we look at how do we keep people involved in the sport. So how, like, if someone's not competing anymore, they're past that stage, how do they get involved? And that's like coaching, judging, getting involved on maybe this side of it as well, in terms of like talking about the sport, trying to promote it, and that's how we've developed that stuff. That like it comes around full circle. You stay involved, you become a coach, or if you're JM, you go leave and go work.
As you were mentioning that, I was like, hang on, I came up with 2 of them there: judging, doing the podcast, and being retained.
Yeah, there you go. So I think that's. Like, it takes a while for all that to start getting implemented and worked on, but at least we have an outline and like a blueprint of this is what we're going to do with it. I think for me, the main thing at the minute is, like, obviously my main focus at the minute is the World Cup, but yeah, setting up the coaching courses this year was brilliant, and the fact that we've got that set up in secondary schools now has been brilliant, because we're working with like 16-year-olds and we're getting them involved in the coaching side of the sport. Because I think what people, if they're on the outside, don't realise is there's a big difference between being able to perform or practice something, and there's a big difference between teaching it. Like, learning how to do something and learning how to teach it are 2 very different things. So for us, like, we want to develop more coaches. They don't have to be world champions. They don't have to have been involved in the sport for 10 years to get involved in the coaching side of it. And that's what I'm trying to get through on the courses. When we go into the schools, is you don't, like, some of them are 16 and they think, like, I've never done this before. And I'm like, you don't have to have done it before.
Exactly. You don't need to be a brilliant athlete to be a brilliant coach.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, if you look at every other sport, that's the same, like, I've taught swimming. I've never swam a day in my life, like.
Never swam a day in my life, like, what?
Well, come on, like, I'm no swimming athlete, but like, that's an example that, like, you don't, like, if you work in a leisure centre, you get put as a jack of all trades almost, and like, that's what I want for our sport. Like, and we're trying to set up that teachers get involved in the coaching courses, because if teachers can start to implement it in the schools, like, we can only be in so many places at once. But if we get other schools implementing it in their programs, then it really grows, because then schools are running it throughout the day, or in whatever capacity they run it as an after school program, or that's how I see it developing anyway.
Can you imagine though? Just now, it's a long way down the road. But can you imagine if you brought every PE teacher in the country to a class to teach them how to coach, and then they bring it back and they could do one PE session a week or whatever? That's a huge start. Like, imagine how many PE teachers there are.
Like, what you've just said is potentially happening with the not in the same scale, but the Southside Sports Partnership have asked us to run the coaching program next year with a select 20 primary school teachers, and those 20, if they're all from 20 different schools, you hope that they'll bring that back and then implement it in the schools. So that's how you make more progress. Like anyone that comes to us asking about getting involved in schools now, that's what I'm offering. I'm offering, look, we will show you how to teach it. Because if I go in for a day, it's great, like kids get a go of it and all, but long term, imagine the kids staying there, or the teacher being able to teach it for three years. Like that's going to have a much bigger impact on developing it than us like just going in for one day on their active week. If we can get teachers confident enough and competent enough to work on it. And our first course, the fundamentals course, is deliberately, like Luke said it, but he was like, it's not really difficult to spot the movements or to learn how to teach it or assess them. And I was like, it's deliberately like that because, first of all, they're the movements that we feel are the most benefit to learn at the start, because it's not sport specific, it's generic fundamental movements that they should be able to do before they go into a sport. And then secondly, if you're a coach, they're really easy to watch and spot. So on both sides of it, like for the kid and the coach, it works really well. And that's why we would push that more than just coming in for a day now, or going in doing their active week and, would you come in for a day? It's like, well, do you want us to come in and teach you how to teach it? And then you don't need us to come in anymore. And then suddenly it's running in 10 schools rather than one on a Monday. Do you know what I mean?
Teach a man how to fish. So the point I made about what it needs to do to grow, sounds like it's already been implemented by yourself. So I'd want to ask you, if that all goes ahead, it's all working, then what would you need? What do you think would be the next step to develop it further from that?
If that all goes ahead? That's the if, like, because like sometimes like some of that stuff can be slow to take off. But my plan this year was we got involved with the Geraghty Sports Partnership, and we've run the coaching course, and every school that we run the coaching course in, we're going to run an inter-schools initiative so that those schools then get together and we have like a one-day event that turns into like an inter-school competition. And then like if you had 10 schools at that, or even 4 the first year, that's how it grows. Like the rock climbing thing, like people think like wouldn't consider rock climbing that big a deal, but they had an event this year that had 150 schools at it, and it was a rock climbing competition, and every school went out, trained once in the wall or something, and got an introduction into rock climbing. And I was like, how do we grab that and put it into calisthenics, like, because that's what you're trying to look at all the time. You're trying to look at like, why is football one of the biggest sports in the country? What do they do? Obviously they're running so much longer than us, but what can you take from each one and implement it into our one? So like that rock climbing thing, if we could turn that into calisthenics, and you have imagine having 150 schools at a one day event.
Be serious.
So my thing is like, what do I need to do to make that a reality? Like, so like you said, like the coaching is what we need. Like if we've only got one club in Dublin or in Ireland running kids programs, how does it grow? So like my big thing is trying to help or get involved as much as I can, or help as much as I can do with our clubs so that they can also develop kids programs, because as a sport it's the only way it develops. I think you wouldn't turn around at 25 and like, I'm going to become a professional footballer.
Exactly.
So why should our sport be any different? So if we want it to be recognised as a sport, we need to start working with kids. Like you need to start them 4, 5, 6, because then you have time with them. Like then you get to know them. They have so much more potential than we do. Like what was I was 21. What age are you?
About 24, 25.
So imagine if you started at 14.
Yeah, exactly.
You had a 10-year advantage over yourself. Like so the potential of the sport is only possible if there is kids programs. it can only get bigger if there's kids programs. You can't start the sport in your 20s and want to become a professional, even though like we've done that. But that's like, that should be a rare thing. That shouldn't be the standard. And I just want, like, all our kids will 100%, if they stick at it, be better than us. And that's because they've literally just because they've had more time. Like if we started at 10, do you know what I mean? So that's how I think it needs to develop. I think we need more clubs being willing to run kids programs, and then that's how it develops as a sport, not as just a fitness. Like you said earlier, some guys are running personal training and fitness programs, but I don't see it as a fitness program. I see it as a sport, and that's the only way I see it developing, is if more kids programs run. And that's why we set up the coaching course, because there's like, we don't just have a freak group of kids in our area, do you know what I mean? Like that can be replicated in any other part of the country if people take it on. So that's why we want to run the coaching courses. More people taking that on, more kids get involved in the sport. And then imagine Ireland in 10 years, if we're the first country that has
the kids coming
through. Like, I just think like it's just common sense now. Do you know what I mean? It just, and that's maybe just because my background was sport. It wasn't really necessarily being just a fitness instructor. My background was being involved in sports. So that's the way I just see it. Whereas if someone has been a personal trainer for 5-6 years or whatever, that's how they see the sport, as something people can do to be fit. And yes, you can go down that road with it, and that's fine. Obviously, you know what I mean? Like, if that's the way you want to go with it, great. But I think I want to develop it as a sport.
Yeah, very good.
I think that's us wrapped up, mate.
Yeah, pretty much.
You happy with that, yeah?
Yeah, until next time.
Go on the lads,
definitely.
That was cool.
It's okay.
J Hemp.
Quick wrap.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap. Kai.
Can I stop?
Yeah.
Boom.